So, do you know that you literally need to give up or stop for the enemy to catch up with you? Like, we kind of give devil too much props and too much power without we recognizing that the power that God has given to us. So, like I said, I've been studying about Jacob, and I kept praying that God should teach me and show me new things in the Bible. And this morning I was reading the part where Jacob, after serving Laban for 20 years, he decided it was time for him to return to his father's land. Now, people have started talking, the sons of Laban have started talking that, yeah, every property and everything that Jacob had was their father's. He stole from their father. And Jacob decided, okay, I'm going to take my family and go back to my father's land. And the Bible said he had first told Laban, I'm going back. And Laban was like, oh, just wait a little bit more time, you still wait. And he did. And the man's countenance changed. The man started mistreating him anyhow. And it was like, you know what? I'm going home. And God actually gave him the go ahead to go. Now, something very interesting that I would like to share was, when Laban was out, taking care of his animals, Jacob packed his whole family. The sons he had at the time, he had like 10 sons or like 11. He had Reuben to Joseph at the time. He hadn't had Benjamin. So he had like 11 sons at the time with his 2 wives and their 2 maids, the servants, the animals, everything that he owed, this guy packed, and he was going back to his father's land. And the Bible said in Genesis 31, we're going from Genesis 31. So, and Jacob stole away unaware to Laban the Syrian, in that he had told him not to flee. Like, he had already told Laban he wanted to go before, Laban like, oh, wait a little bit more. And so he fled with all that he had. He rose up and passed over the river and set his face towards Gilead. And it was told to Laban on the 3rd day that Jacob had fled. Now, this guy has traveled 3 days into the wilderness with everything and the crowd that he had with him. And Laban, pursued him. But the interesting thing was, it took 7 days for Laban to catch up on a journey that Jacob traveled in 3 days. Like, when God sets you out, he gives you speed. He leads you. He directs you. Now, it took Laban 7 days to catch up with Jacob. And the only reason why he caught up with Jacob was because Genesis 31:25 said, then Laban overtook Jacob. Now Jacob had pitched his tent in the mount, and Laban with his brethren pitched in the mount of Gilead. Meaning, if Jacob and his family had not stayed to camp for whatever reason, whether it was in the night or they were just tired and they needed to rest, Laban would never have caught up with him. Now, that comes to you. If you do not give up, the devil cannot hold you down. If you do not throw in the towel, the devil has no power to keep you stagnant. He doesn't have the power to overtake you. You have to give up. You have to come to a point where it's like, I'm done. I'm not going anymore forward. I've tried. Nothing is working. That is when you feel the fire that the devil has been trying to start. And mind you, before that, in Genesis 31:24, the Bible said, and God came to Laban the Syrian in a dream of the night and said unto him, take heed that thou speak not to Jacob, neither good or bad. Like, God had to go warn Laban, like, hey, don't play with fire. Do not even try. Don't do him no harm. Like, don't even think of doing anything wrong, or this is my guy, I've got his back. And Laban had to tell Jacob, like, why are you running away? Why did you steal my children and my grandchildren for me? That if not for the gods of your father that came to me in the night and told me not to do you any harm, I don't know what I would have done. Like, the devil has to take permission from God to be able to do most of the things that we're acknowledging that he can do. We know the story of Job, that Job had to go to God, or rather, devil had to go to God before he could tempt Job. Like, we need to understand how precious we are to God. The Bible said we are the apple of his eyes. If you do not give up, if you keep holding on to God, if you keep trusting God, the devil can never overcome you. I want you to hold on to this verse. And every time you feel discouraged or you feel like, I'm trying my best, I'm doing my best, know that you have God watching over you. You have God's backing. He's directing you. He's working behind the scene. The things may have not come together yet, but no evil, no hurt, no damage, no trouble can come to you without the knowledge of God. God has got your back. You need to trust that. I do.